Welcome into PrepAquatics.com. I'm Skylar King. As always, you can email me, Skylar@PrepAquatics.com. You can follow me on Twitter, @SkylarPrep. Coming off the first weekend of conference meets. There's always more meets this weekend, so we'll try to go as fast as possible to kind of get through the big performances. And we'll start in the DuPage Valley. Neuqua, as I thought, and it was close. Waubonsie made things interesting. 305-277. Neuqua wins the DuPage Valley over Waubonsie. Obviously, you know, the stars were stars. The two biggest ones being Boyle and Deshpande. Boyle 144.2 in the 200. Boyle 46.9 in the 100. Deshpande 157.3 in the IM. An event that I still think he should be the favorite to win the state title in. And then there were some pretty big swims in the relays. Waubonsie 36.7, Naperville Central 37.0 in the medley. Naperville Central still just kind of flying under the radar. I still expect for them to be heard from in a big way come the state meet. Then Neuqua 126.5 and 311.1. Those are the two relays that they should go for with Boyle and bag the medley, in my opinion. Let Boyle go the 200-100 this year, and Waubonsie 312.5. And similarly, while they've shown signs of life and we've talked about it, the middle relay is definitely going to be Waubonsie's weakest relay. The medley and the 400 is where they need to be top six to get into that mix for potentially top five finish as a team. The Catholic League, unfortunately, I'm not sure who won that. Meet Mobile, they stopped updating the final heats starting. I got about after the 500. The two best swims that actually got posted: Maurer 142.0, Hutchinson 142.4 in the 200. That could potentially be the heads-up matchup for the state title. And so it's great for those two guys to be able to get that competition in at conference, and then we'll see what they do with sectionals time wise. But Maurer is just really coming to his own this year. I mean, he was obviously good last year, but you can always tell when a guy goes from super talented to he's figured out he's one of the best swimmers in the state, because he's going out every week and just putting up big times and competing against other top guys in the state and winning. And that's been, to me, seeing him a few times, the difference between Maurer this year and last year. You could see the talent rounding into form, and obviously at state he came through, but during the season it was still like, there's the youth there. He's not ready to consistently do it week in and week out. This year he's shown that improvement. And so, I Evernay do a 155 in the IM. I'm assuming that was in a suit. I still expect him to go 2.5. I thought he might make things interesting in the 500 for Hutchinson, but Hutchinson went 39. Andrew went 44. I still think those two guys might be the top two 500 guys in the state, depending on if we have anybody switch in there, because the 500 is looking so weak. The main event of the weekend turned into the Duquesne Conference, and that's because the number one team in the state dropped drag and really showed what they could do when the drags aren't holding them down. 132.5 in the medley from St. Charles North. Ricky Williams 143.6. Will Meyer, by the way, was 24.1 in the breaststroke on that medley. Alec Filipovic 153.2 in the IM. His brother Sibo 156.5. Alec Filipovic 50.3 in the fly. Nate Baxter 50.58 in the fly. I still think Will Meyer is going to be in the fly with Baxter, and Alec Filipovic that is going to go the 100. But long term, the fly is probably going to be one of Alec Filipovic's best high school races. And I just think lineup-wise, it makes more sense for him to go the 100 free this year, because Will Meyer is a landslide favorite, in my opinion, to win the fly. Meyer did go 44.6 in the 100 free, though, just to show you that he can. And he also went 19 on their 200 relay. I mean, Will Meyer has been, especially when you consider that Stensby's been banged up. because he would be the other candidate you would think coming into the season. Will Meyer's been the most impressive swimmer in the state this year, and it hasn't been close. And, that's what you want to see out of your senior in a year where you're trying to win a state title. And Will Meyer's definitely done that start to finish. In the 500, Ricky Williams, 4:43. Again, I think I'll be shocked if he's not in the top 6 of the 500. Brad Whitehurst, who was in the bottom with him last year, 4:46.8. Seba Filipovic, 51.8 in the back. Meyer, 54.5 in the fly. And then 3:11.6 in the 400 relay. Again, that's the big relay for them. That's a 3:11.6 without Will Meyer. And, if that relay gets in the top, I think St. Charles North's going to win the state title. I think that relay, unfortunately for them, they're going to have to sweat out the entire meet waiting for that on Friday at state. But that relay goes top. And obviously, the 2 relays with Will Meyer are going to be state title contenders. The medley should win easily, I think. That's the path for St. Charles North. They don't have as many potential scoring swims as Glenbrook South, who we'll talk about because that's the conference that I'm going to this weekend. But what they have is more guaranteed top 6 point swims than Glenbrook South does. And, if Glenbrook South, a lot of these guys that are probably bottom 6 become top 6, they can obviously win. And, that's going to be the big prove it for them with all their young guys that have never done it before, because that's basically all of them except for Max Ida, who scored last year as a freshman. The West Suburban Silver Meet, it was very close. Oak Park was winning going to the last relay, and Hinsdale pulled it out in the end. There weren't a ton of great times there were good times, but not like notable, everyone take note of this times from the top kids. I was hoping we'd really get a real 3-team race. Michael Walsh only swam the 50 breaststroke in the medley. That was unfortunate. I was looking forward to seeing him swim the 50 free again, because he's been fine in the breaststroke. The 50, an event that I thought coming into the year he'd be top 6 in, is the question mark for him right now. And the talent's there. He's clearly bigger and stronger than last year. But if everything's not perfect in a 50, then basically nothing's perfect. One little thing goes wrong, is just too short a race. And so I was really hoping to see him swim the 50 free again before state, but he'll be fine, I think. And so I just was hoping for a 3-team race because it just makes it more interesting. It was pretty clear early on that it was going to be a head-to-head showdown between Oak Park and Hinsdale, and Oak Park did enough to win, but at the end of the day, it came down to that last relay, and that was relay Will Rate wasn't in, and Hinsdale got him to win by 3. So as I said last week, that's Oak Park's conference to lose next year, and so it's not their last chance to come away with the conference title, a conference title that I don't think they've won probably since 1998, 99 maybe. So I'm still hoping to see top 10 finish from Oak Park at the state meet, and they'll probably be pretty fast at sectionals. That usually turns into a bloodbath with Fenwick. This week coming up, Glenbrook South. It's all about, that's the thing about these conference meets is, even though it's, I like keeping it, because I don't care who wins sectionals. To me, that's the most meaningless thing that we give out plaques for, is winning sectionals. And sectional coach of the year, to me, is even dumber, because if you win sectional coach of the year, it probably means you shaved everybody, and you shouldn't win sectional coach of the year for that. You should win sectional coach of the year for not shaving your kids and getting them to state. But that's never going to change. The thing that I'm looking at for Glenbrook is what do their shaved kids look like. That's what it was for me with this past weekend. And Hinsdale Shade kids were incredible. I thought, especially some of their older guys that were swimming off for some spots, and that is, to me, a sign of things to come for your sectional and state guys. And so that's what I'm looking for from Glenbrook South. The CSL meet is unique because you have 3 individuals swimming and 2 relays, and so you got more varsity guys all swimming together on that top level, and so we should get a pretty good idea of how the Glenbrook South drop is going, based on how much are they dropping from what they were doing in December is really what you're looking for here. Or are they really tapering from what they came down to earth with when they came back from Christmas break? And because if they're tapering from December with a normal taper, then I think St. Charles North might be in some trouble. But if they're tapering from more of what they were doing in January, I think that's a more realistic and indicative level of performance to drop from than what they were doing in December, when they were just setting the world on fire against Glenbrook North and others. Glenbrook South will win this meet pretty easily. That's why, to me, they have too many kids. I don't care who Nutria or anybody else has to taper. Glenbrook South's just the elite team in this conference this year. Elsewhere around the state this weekend, I think Stevenson and Barrington should both win conference meets pretty easily in the other higher profile conference meets. But I always feel bad for the teams that have conference this weekend, and I'm sure some coaches have switched their philosophy to try to use it to their advantage. I just think it's tough to go 3 weeks in a row championship meets. Emotionally, physically, having that week off, I think, is an advantage to the teams that just swam. And so, if there is a swim off for spots, you don't have really any time to build up and retaper somebody for sectionals 7 days later, and then 6 days later for a potential third shave for state. It's just a really tough thing to do. That's why you don't see many teams, kids score on second and third shaves, or if they're on a relay, maintain or improve their times on second or third shaves if there was a swim-off situation. So 3 weeks left of high-level swimming here in Illinois. Next week, we'll be talking second week conference recap, and because Fridays have been my off day, assuming that is still the case, we might even have some leaks about events for sectionals on Saturday, which, to me, Friday night and Saturday going into sectionals is just as exciting as the Friday night or the Thursday night into Friday going into state, because there's that unknown of is there going to be a big bomb of who switched an event unexpectedly, and so any of that information that I can get a hold of, I will definitely bring to you in the sectional preview next week. I'm Skylar King. You've been watching PrepAquatics.com. 2 more weekends, and then the big one here in Illinois, and we'll be covering it all here at PrepAquatics.com.